You already know something most men will spend their entire lives missing. And the fact that you are here tells me you are ready to finally see it. There is a woman in your life right now, or there will be, who is already giving you signals so clear, so deliberate, so unmistakably direct, that the only reason you are missing them is because nobody ever taught you what to look for. That is not your failure. That is a gap in everything you were ever shown about women, connection, and the silent language that runs beneath every conversation you have ever had. Most men wait for a woman to say the words. They wait for the explicit declaration, the clear green light, and while they wait, she pulls back. Not because she stopped feeling something, but because she grew tired of speaking in a language no one was learning. Today that changes for you. Stay with me until sign number 5, because that one right there, is the signal most men have encountered dozens of times and walked away from thinking they imagined it. You did not imagine it. You just did not have the translation yet. If this kind of knowledge matters to you, tap like right now, because what we discuss here is not surface level. This channel exists to give you the deeper truth about how women communicate, how attraction actually works, and how genuine connection is built between two people who are ready for it. Researchers in the field of attachment and emotional communication have spent decades documenting what women do when they feel a strong pull towards someone. What they found is not what movies or magazines ever told you. Women do not announce attraction the way they are portrayed announcing it. They signal it, quietly, repeatedly, through behavior patterns so consistent that once you learn to read them, you will never unsee them again. The cost of not knowing this has been real for a lot of men. She was there. She was interested. She was, in fact, showing you everything. And the moment passed, she moved on, not with bitterness, but with the quiet resignation of someone who had been speaking for a long time into silence. But this is not about manipulation. This is not a technique to use against someone. This is about understanding, about seeing clearly, about honoring what she is showing you by meeting it with genuine presence and honest intention. If your heart is not in the right place, none of what follows will serve you. Women sense everything. The energy behind your actions speaks louder than the actions themselves. Let us begin. The first sign is what psychologists call proximity seeking. There is a woman, and she keeps finding herself near you. Not dramatically, not in a way she could be called out for, but she is there. You notice it at a social gathering. She started across the room and somehow ended her conversations a few steps from where you were standing. You notice it at a dinner, where she chose the seat that put her in your line of sight. Dr. Helen Fisher, the renowned biological anthropologist at Rutgers University, spent years documenting how the human brain's reward system drives physical closeness toward people we feel emotionally drawn to. What looks like coincidence is actually the body following what the emotions have already decided. Imagine this. You are at a friend's gathering on a Saturday evening. The room is full, the conversations are spread across different corners, and you have moved twice since arriving. Each time, within 20 minutes, she has found a reason to be in the same space. She is not hovering. She is not staring. She is simply present, near, within reach. And every time there is a natural pause in whatever conversation she is in, her eyes drift, just for a moment, in your direction. That is not random movement. That is the body doing what the mind has been privately rehearsing. It communicates something profound without a single word. You feel like safety to her. You feel like somewhere worth being. This is not about control or manipulation. It is about recognizing what real emotional pull looks like when it is quietly in motion. The second sign is something I call the lingering response. When a woman is deeply interested in a man, she does not rush through exchanges with him. She extends them. A question you asked her 3 days ago resurfaces in her response today. She remembers the detail you mentioned once casually about your work or your life, and she brings it back with a specificity that tells you she was listening on a level most people never reach. Psychologists describe this through the lens of attentional bias, the brain's tendency to allocate more cognitive space to stimuli that feel emotionally significant. When she remembers the small things, it is not an accident. It is because her mind kept returning to you long after the conversation ended. Think about what that means. She went home. She went about her evening. And somewhere in the quiet space between her life and her thoughts, you were there. That is not something a person does with someone who means nothing to them. A woman I spoke to once, a 43-year-old professional who had recently reconnected with someone from her past, told me something I have never forgotten. She said, "The moment I knew I was drawn to him was when I realized I remembered things he said that he had clearly already forgotten. I remembered because they mattered. He had no idea." Most men interpret a lack of dramatic declaration as a lack of feeling. The reality is the opposite. The woman who remembers your details is the woman who is speaking volumes in a language you were never taught to hear. The third sign is what relationship researchers call the vulnerability window. There is a moment, and it comes specifically when she feels safe, when a woman will share something with you that she does not share casually. It might be a fear, a memory, a part of her history that she protects carefully. And she offers it to you not because the conversation demanded it, but because something about being near you made her feel that it was safe to do so. Dr. Brené Brown's foundational research on vulnerability and human connection established clearly that the act of chosen disclosure, choosing to reveal something tender to another person, is one of the most reliable indicators of deep emotional trust. She does not open that door for everyone. The fact that she opened it for you is a signal of the highest order. Imagine this. You are having a conversation that started lightly, dinner perhaps, or a walk. And somewhere in the middle of it, she goes quiet for just a second, then says something real, something that carries weight, something about who she is beneath the surface she presents to the world. She looks at you as she says it, and there is a question in her eyes, not a spoken question, a watching question. She is reading how you receive it. The way you receive that moment determines everything that comes next. If you meet it with genuine presence, not with a fix, not with a deflection, not with your own story immediately, but with stillness and acknowledgement, you become in that moment the rare man who knows how to hold what a woman trusts him with. That communicates something she has perhaps been looking for a long time. It says, I see you, and I am not leaving because of what I see. None of this works without real care. A woman can sense the difference between genuine presence and performance. She has been reading people for her entire life. If your attention is not honest, she will know. And what could have been extraordinary will simply close. The fourth sign is what I call the physical anchor. And I want to address this through the lens of psychology, because this is one of the most misunderstood signals of all. When a woman feels a strong emotional draw toward a man, she begins, often without being consciously aware of it, to create small physical points of contact. A hand on the arm during a story, leaning slightly in your direction during a shared laugh, the brief touch on the shoulder when she is making a point she wants you to feel. Research in the psychology of touch, published through the University of California, Berkeley, by Dr. Dacher Keltner and his team, documented that intentional physical contact, even the lightest and most brief, activates the same neural pathways associated with bonding, trust, and emotional safety. What she is doing is not calculated. It is her nervous system communicating what her words have not yet said. This is not about the physical gesture itself. It is about what the gesture is translating. Every time she chooses to close the space between her and you, her body is saying what her voice is protecting. She trusts your energy, she feels safe in your proximity, and she is, in the most instinctive and honest way possible, reaching toward that safety. Imagine this. You are sitting across from her, and she is laughing at something you said. Genuinely laughing, not politely. And as the laugh settles, her hand comes forward and rests on your forearm for just a second. She probably does not even register that she did it, but you feel it. And what you felt was not just the warmth of a hand. It was an entire sentence, spoken through a single point of contact. That sentence was, "You make me feel at ease. You make me feel like myself, and I want to stay near that." If you are receiving these signs and you are responding with grounded, centered presence, not with nervous energy, not with performance, but with the calm steadiness of a man who is genuinely there, you are already doing what most men never learn to do. You are meeting her where she is. And here, at this midpoint, if what you are learning today is opening something in you, if these words are giving you a framework you have been looking for, subscribe now. Every video on this channel is built for exactly this conversation. For the man who is ready to understand, not perform. For the man who wants genuine depth, not surface strategies. The fifth sign is the one I promised you at the beginning, and I want you to pay close attention here because this is the one you have almost certainly encountered and talked yourself out of believing. It is what I call the future inclusion signal. When a woman is drawn to someone at a deep level, she begins, often months before she would ever say anything explicitly, to weave him into her imagined future. Not dramatically, not openly, but in small, specific, unmistakable ways. She mentions an event coming up and says, almost casually, "You would probably probably enjoy that. She talks about a place she loves and says something like, "You should see it sometime." She tells you about a film, a restaurant, a moment in her life, and you are somehow always in the hypothetical. Dr. Arthur Aaron's landmark research on the psychology of falling in love, specifically his work on self-expansion theory at Stony Brook University, found that when a person begins to feel a powerful emotional connection, they instinctively begin incorporating the object of their attachment into their concept of future self. They do not just want to spend time with this person, they begin to imagine a future that includes them. When she says, "You would love that place," she is not making small talk. She is rehearsing. She is quietly building a world in which you are present. And she is offering you a door, lightly, carefully, with complete deniability if you miss it, to walk through. Imagine this. You are talking with her on an evening in late autumn, and she starts describing a small coastal village she visits every year with her family around the holidays. She talks about the way the light looks in the mornings there, about the little cafe on the corner that makes coffee unlike anything else she has had. And then she says, almost offhandedly, "I always think it's the kind of place people should experience at least once. You'd fit there, I think." She did not say, "I want to take you." She did not say, "Let's go together." But she placed you there, in a place she loves, in a future she allows herself to imagine. That is one of the most tender signals a woman can give, because it costs her something. It is a small act of emotional courage to place someone you feel strongly about inside the private world of your imagination, and then offer them a window into it. She is showing you where she goes when she lets herself dream a little. A word of quiet caution here. This signal requires patience and reciprocal honesty on your part. Do not rush past it. Do not deflect it with humor or miss it with inattention. Meet it. Acknowledge it. Let her know you heard it. That acknowledgement is itself a form of presence that most men never offer. The sixth and final sign is something I call the protective softness. It is in many ways the most profound of all six, because it only appears when everything else has already aligned. When a woman feels deeply emotionally connected to a man, when she trusts him, when she has seen his character over time, when she has felt consistently safe in his presence, she begins to do something that most men never notice. She protects him. Not in the dramatic way, not in the public declaration way, but in the quiet, private, profoundly meaningful way. She defends your name when you are not in the room. She speaks about you with a warmth she does not moderate when you are not there to witness it. She notices when something is weighing on you before you say a word about it, and she creates space for you to be less than perfectly fine without requiring you to perform strength. She softens around you in a way she does not soften around the rest of the world. Research on emotional responsiveness in intimate connection, documented extensively by Dr. Sue Johnson, founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, shows that this kind of attunement, this watching and responding, this emotional tracking of another person's inner state, is one of the hallmarks of deep attachment. It is not something that happens casually. It takes time, repeated safety, and a sustained pattern of genuine presence on your part to call it forth. Imagine this. You have had a difficult week. You have not said much about it, but you carry it. You see her at a gathering with mutual friends, and within 10 minutes of your arrival, she has quietly positioned herself near you, not hovering, not making a scene of it, but near. At one point in the evening, when a conversation gets slightly pointed in a direction that might be uncomfortable for you, she redirects it, effortlessly, almost imperceptibly. And when the evening ends, she says simply, "You seemed tired tonight. I hope things ease up." She was watching. She was protecting. She was present for you in a way that required nothing from you but your honesty of spirit. That is not politeness. That is a woman who cares about you in a way that has already gone very deep. Most men miss this sign because it does not look like what they expect attachment to look like. They expect loudness, declaration, obvious pursuit. But the deepest feelings a woman carries are often the quietest ones. Because the quieter they are, the more carefully she is holding them. Here is what all 6 of these signs share. They are not tricks. They are not games. They are the honest language of a woman who feels something real and is expressing it through the only channels that feel safe to her. Channels built not from words, but from proximity, memory, vulnerability, touch, imagination, and protection. Every sign is a doorway, and every doorway requires the same thing on your side: genuine presence, grounded calm, and a heart that is actually there. This is not about technique. It was never about technique. It is about becoming the kind of man whose presence feels like a place another person wants to be. That is a quality of character, not a collection of strategies, and it is built not in a single conversation, but across days and weeks of of showing up as yourself, steady, honest, and genuinely interested in the person in front of you. Most men will go their entire lives not knowing any of this. They will keep waiting for the dramatic signal they were taught to expect, while she keeps sending the quiet ones they were never shown how to read. But you are here, you are learning, and that choice, the choice to understand rather than perform, is already making you different. If this reached something in you today, comment the word signal below. It tells me this kind of depth is what you are looking for, and it helps more men find conversations like this one. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you never miss what comes next, because the next video goes even deeper into something that lives beneath all 6 of these signs. The invisible emotional architecture that determines whether she stays or whether she quietly decides to stop reaching. You do not want to miss it.